video, we're going to recreate the price predictions flow. So we want to go up here and click on New Flow. And now we want to, let's take a look at our price predictions flow just so we make sure what we're recreating and what we're ultimately doing. So we have input, which is stitched data. We select columns. With one copy, we predict, and then we ultimately join that to our original data and we export out. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go back to our predictions demo flow. Our input is our stitched data. So that's going to be stitched housing data right here. Let's drag that in. Okay, then the next thing we wanted to do was select which columns we wanted to use. So we'll go over here to process data and we'll scroll to find the select. From there, we made 2 copies of the data, so we're going to process the data. Over here under split, we have copy. Then we're going to, with 1 copy of the data, go over here and predict under machine learning. Let's add that over here. With another copy of the data, we also will then ultimately join with the prediction. So we'll put that over here. And then after we predict, we want to, let's see, come over here to transform, rename columns. And then from rename columns, we'll go to the front of this join right here so that we create a pipeline that looks just like this. And then ultimately we will export that data set. So there's a lot of errors because we haven't specified anything about any of these facets yet. So it doesn't know what model to use, how many copies to make, what columns we're selecting. So let's go ahead and do that. So first let's make sure that our data got imported correctly by peeking it. And it did. We have prices, we have features. That looks great. The next thing we want to do is select which columns we want to look at. So let's go over here, and as you can see, all of our columns are here. We definitely need to look at the price for sure. And then let's also select the same ones as we did in the previous video. So we'll do LSAT, we'll do age, and RM. So let's click update there. Okay, so now we need to specify how many copies we're making. And here we have 2 copies, so we'll update that. Now let's take a look at our predict facet here. So over here we have model name, which we have our Boston Housing RF for random forest. And the version here, we want it to be 2.0. We have multiple versions, but the one that we used in the previous video is 2.0. We could also train a new model here in this case. So either way, but we'll leave it at 2.0 for now. We'll set our overwrite to be true and our target column to be MEDV. In fact, let's create a brand new model for this one. We'll see a new model being trained. So we'll update that. Then for rename columns, all we're doing is essentially adding a column, and we'll call it prediction. And since there's no column we're renaming, this will just create a new column called prediction. Then ultimately we are going to join, and we'll just join by rows. Once again, we have to specify which side of the table we want this to be on. So we'll say we want our original data on the left and that new column for predictions on the right. And now we should be ready to export our data. We'll call this predictions demo output. Okay, so let's peek right before we export. And if we peek, okay, that ran very quickly. And we have price from original data, the 3 features that we selected, and ultimately the prediction that our random forest model generated. So that's great. We can now run this flow. Just make sure that everything runs correctly. Great. So now we should have an exported data set called predictions demo output. And let's take a look. We have predictions demo output. And if we take a look at it, great, this looks like what we expected. We've got these 3 feature columns, our target column, and then the prediction of our target column, and that looks great.